So the difference in the mark and the 50, which you'll see once you get over there, you want the 50's leg about out like that, whereas the mark, you're going to close it in a little bit more so that when it recoils, it's going to dig that front leg into the ground. The 50's has so much weight on the front that it's going to dig it down, and you're going to be able to beat it down a little bit better. All right, so lock it in. Extend the legs, you always want to make sure that it's locked in here. If it's not, when you start to fire, the traversing bar is going to open back up on you, and you're going to be sitting there out of fire, or not, unable to fire, unable to support whatever mission you're supporting, because you're trying to pull it with the tripod. And with the gun on there, it's extremely difficult to be able to open the legs and lock it back out yourself. All right, next thing I'm going to do, attach the pedal. Simple, it doesn't necessarily matter which way the bolt goes through. It doesn't have any effect on anything that's going to be up against the weapon system, so it doesn't work.
Does that pencil have a front and a back? Or?
No, it does not. So it's not like the 240 where it has that angle on it, where you need to have the open end of the angle towards you. It'll go on either way. And you're just going to take it, place it into that pedal bushing, lock it down. Always pick up on the weapon system just to make sure it locks in. If it's not locked in, obviously when you start to fire, it's going to raise the front of the weapon system. It's going to fall out. Okay. T&E. Just pre-stage the T&E. Once it comes out of the bag, I always preset the T&E. A quick way to do that is 2 fingers with a little gap between your fingers here. On the lower portion of the traversing hand wheel. Same thing on the top. Slightly more than 2 fingers. What that gets you is like a tentative, like a rough 0. You're never, if you really want it to truly be zeroed, you're gonna have to count all the clicks max, each direction, and then split that in half. But it's never gonna be, once you start firing, it's not gonna be zeroed anymore anyway. Same thing here, just ensure that you can get both fingers in between the traversing screw, and that's gonna allow you the max amount of traverse either way, once it's on the weapon system. Go ahead and pull that pin. Easy thing to remember, anytime you're going to do an adjustment, you're always going to do that adjustment just like on the 240. You fire right hand or right shoulder, adjustments are always going to go to the left hand. So just keep that traversing hand wheel on the left side as you're looking at it, and the traversing lock is going to face you so that you can get those quick adjustments, major adjustments. Pin goes in, lock it down, and usually anytime I'm setting up the weapon, whether it be live fire on a range or whatever, I'm always going to set it on 0, and that gives me and center the weapon system as it gets set up onto the whatever target I'm engaging, whether it be the center of the range or center of whatever. That gives me the max amount of traverse back and forth. Okay. Next thing, we're going to attach the barrel. Big thing to remember, you guys had these when you went through CSW, right? Or did you have the old version? Did you have Space and Timing, or did you do? No, it's the new one. Okay. So what you got to remember with the new barrel, which you guys already touched, you didn't have the old one, is this little nipple that sticks up right here, lines up in the J groove. All right. And what you'll see a lot of times is people will just push the barrel until they get it in the slot to rotate it over. What that'll do is it'll start to damage the threads because you're slamming it in there, and the threads are butted up all the way against the back of the chamber. It'll start banging into the receiver and damaging those threads. You won't be able to get the weapon system on. So all you're going to do, you can lift the top cover or you cannot lift the top cover. Just personal preference on you. But what you want to look for, if you come around to this side, you'll see it. There's a hole, a 3/8 size hole. Here. Alright, you're going to push that bolt back until the barrel locking spring lug lines up into the receiver. There's a little square peg that'll line up, and that'll let you know that it's unlocked. Rotate it. Rotate the barrel in. After I do that, I always push the bolt back to the rear to ensure that I start to see the barrel here. It tells me that it's seated properly and it's good to go. If it's not seated properly, while, but so weapon had to get melted down, all things like that. So you just always want to make sure that it's fully seated, and you'll be golden from there on out. Good. Any questions?
So what were you looking for when you pushed the barrel back?
So you're looking over here. There's a hole back here on the right side. When you push it back, there'll be a square peg that lines up in that hole. It doesn't have to be necessarily perfectly centered. All that does. So once we disassemble, I'll show you that piece again if you just remind me. All that does is once it lines up in that hole, it creates or it releases the pressure that allows the barrel to go in. And then once it's repressed again, it's holding that barrel locked into place. Once it's screwed in.
And after the barrel was in, you checked for something.
Yep, all I do is just push back to ensure that I can see the barrel moving right here. Like, you necessarily don't have to look there when you see the barrel come back. As long as you can see that the barrel's moving with the retracting slide handle, you're good. Okay? Alright, loading up. So, obviously, condition 4 now is hold forward and around the chamber. Quick way to check, just to make sure, like, when you're pulling out the weapon system and stuff like that. The top cover, if you look down through the T-slot here, you won't see anything. You don't necessarily have to pull the bolts to rear. Some 50s are weird. You'll be able to pull the bolts to rear when it doesn't have a barrel on, but when you go to send the barrel forward, it may not go forward. So, if you just like either just look or just slightly pull it back, you'll be good. Okay. So going to condition 3, if you imagine my finger is that round, I'm just going to place that first round just past the belt buckle. Close the top cover. I'm going to go through single shot, and then I'll go through fully automatic. So single shot, weapons on safe. You'll know it's on safe because the white side on the left of the safety will show red, fire could be on the right. So we're going to go single shot first. I'm just going to pull the bolts to rear, and I'm going to return my retract slide handle forward. Alright? Then I'm going to depress the bolt latch release while depressing the trigger, so it's just going to be this half moon shape right here in the center. Now I'm in condition 2. Condition 2, all it did was move that round from here up against the cartridge stop. So if you remember on the 240 on the top of the feed tray, it has that little box piece over on the right. That's where that round automatically goes when you go to condition 3, right? But now it takes me 2 motions to move the weapon, move the round from here, or 1 motion to move from here to here, and another to get it into the chamber since it's closable. Condition 1, same thing. Now I'm condition 1. Go back through fully automatic. So condition 3, same exact way. Condition 2, pull it all the way to the rear and just let it go. Don't ride it forward because sometimes, see if this one will do it. See how it's stuck right there? So if you just ride it forward, it may or may not do it, just depending on the weapon system, depending on how much lube is on there. It may not, you'll think it's all the way forward, but you go to bear down on the trigger won't move. You have to charge your weapon system again. So condition 2, condition 1. Okay, I'm gonna go through immediate remedial action just really quick. So I'm firing, clear. Turn off my misfire. 4, 3, 2, 1, exact same as the 240, right? After those 5 seconds are done, I'm just going to slingshot it, observe for feeding and ejecting. Feeding is going to occur on the left side, ejecting links on the right, and brass out of the bottom. If it occurs, attempt to fire, or side and attempt to fire. If it does not occur, I'm just going to go to straight into remedial action. If you remember, like the first things I have to do, they teach you the acronym PAD. So place the weapon on safe, assume there's a live barrel in the chamber. Anybody remember how to determine if I have a hot or cold barrel? 150. So 150 for the 50 caliber, 200 for every other weapon set, or every 200 for 240 and 249. So I wait. If I determine it cold or determine it hot, I'm just going to wait that 15 minutes. Once it's good, I'm going to go ahead and clear it out. Always going to make sure the weapon's on safe when I'm clearing it out. Place it on single shot. Some of them are sticky. You may have to rotate that the J-hook that holds that bolt latch release down. Just like push it with your thumb, pop right off, and I'm going to clear out the weapon system. So as soon as I'm clearing out the 240, I'm just going to put my head down and away, sweep the feed tray, or feedway, excuse me. Once I sweep the feedway, visually and physically inspect the chamber. If there's a round still in the face of the bolt, So I'm not holding the bolt right now. If I go to try to push up on that round to make it fall out, the extractor is going to catch it. Okay, so if I pull back, just that slight, everybody says 1/16 of an inch, is more like a 1/2 of an inch. So I pull back that amount, and it releases that pressure, allowing that extractor to come up, and it allows that round to fall off the top. Okay, semi-retract slide handle back forward. Bolts on an empty chamber. Okay, any questions? You good? We just want to play with them, right? Okay. All right, I'm gonna go through Dis-N-Ast real quick. We'll talk about some of the different parts. Detach the barrel. I don't necessarily need to take it all the way out of the barrel support, just as long as it's not in contact with the barrel or with the bolt anymore. Ensure that it's on safe and single shot. If it's in fully automatic, what's going to happen is you're going to go pull up, you're going to release the 2 latches, and you're going to pull up, and it's not going to go anywhere. I'll show you why in a second. Safe and single shot. So when I have it in fully automatic, the bolt latch release is pushed forward, and that piece is catching on the top of the receiver, so it's not going to come off. No matter how hard you can be like the mountain trying to pick up on this thing, it ain't going to go off. Okay. Always lay that with the spades down so that nothing that's on the top, on the inside of the receiver is going to get damaged. Okay. I'm going to disengage my driving spring rod. You can pull that out, or you can just kind of leave it sitting in the weapon system as long as it's not going to get hung up on anything. But what you'll see a lot of times, the guys that are trying to do it really fast and do it for time, it'll rotate and it'll catch on the grooves the back plate goes in, and it'll hold to the rear, but it'll get stuck, and that driving spring rod will shoot out and hit them or hit whatever. And it's like around 500 pounds of pressure just in this one thing. It's not necessarily 500 like you start to push on it, but all the recoil going back and forth fully collapsed, it's going to be around 500. Alright, now that I have the driving spring rod disengaged, that's going to allow the bolt to like move freely, and I can move it wherever I want. Whereas if it's engaged, I'm only going to be able to get it to a certain point. So now all I'm going to do is quickly, but not too aggressively, pull back. Alright, see, I even did it that time. So I pulled it back too far. I'm just going to have to lift up, and I'll show you what I have to lift up here in a minute. All I'm trying to do is get this pin lined up on the side of the receiver. You'll see like the cutouts on the side of the receiver. And I pull that out. All right, all that is my bolt stud that allows it to move back and forth, or stay in position in the rails. I'm just gonna lay it up there. You can put it in here just as long as you don't lose it. Now I'm gonna take my planer rod. I'm gonna press in on the side of the receiver. If you can't see. So now I have the entire bolt. The 3 groups that I'm cool with you guys breaking it down into today will be the bolt, the barrel extension, and the buffer body. So those are the 3 main groups in the bolt. All right, here farther I can take out my buffer tube. I can take out my accelerator. I can take out, so this will be excuse me. They had this one out at the range the other day. So this is the spring that I was talking about. So all this goes on the bottom of the sear. So if you imagine the sear on the 240 where you pull the trigger, it depresses. This is doing the same thing, but it's doing it inside of the bolt itself. And I've got my firing pin and firing pin extension. Okay, now on the, you guys may or may not see them in the fleet if they're still floating around. The old version of the bolt that went with the 50 cal that you did headspace timing on, this is a breech lock. It used to be able to be removed. Now, technically, some of them may or may not move depending on the armory, but they're serialized per weapon system, so it's going to stay, and they have different sizes that go with it since it's fixed head space and timing, and you're not going to be able to remove it. The only ones who are going to be able to adjust it is the armorers themselves. Okay? Believe it or not, the most common things to go missing, obviously that's spring. And I've actually had a firing pin extension somehow go missing when somebody was disassembling the weapon system, right? So always a good idea, like when you're pulling the weapon system apart to clean it, like doing it on one of these tables or whatever. But if you're out like in the field trying to disassemble it, like obviously have that tarp or lay it on the back of a gun truck with the tailgate down or whatever, so that you have one, you don't have to be bent over like trying to clean a weapon system. You kind of stand up, sit down, whatever. But it keeps everything like organized in a manner that you know where it's all at. Okay.
So we're gonna have to disassemble them to this extent?
No. So, you guys can go ahead and start setting up that other one and going through back together.